What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today we're talking about third baseman. I got 3 undervalued and 4 sleepers. Normally I have a breakout section, but you'll see that a lot of these guys actually end up being similar. So I'm not the kind of guy who sits here and wastes time with introductions. I like to get right into the content and get you guys moving with your day. So let's get under it. Undervalued, number 1. Gino Suarez. Every year I feel like he's undervalued just because there's better players. You know, the third base spot is very top heavy. You got your Rendons, you got your Machados, you got a lot of big names up there. Gino Suarez always seems to get forgotten, and he always seems to have really good years. He's a home run kind of guy, gets a lot of dongs, so look for him if you're going to wait for third base, which I actually highly recommend this year because there are so many good third basemen. Now, of course, if you're really early in the draft and you can snag one of those top guys, you could still get a util in Gino Suarez and really be good. I expect him to have another good year in Cincinnati. It's a ballpark where a lot of home runs are hit. In fact, I expect him to play better than he did last year. I expect him to creep into that top 6. It's really hard to be a top 5 third baseman because there's so many good ones. So if you do miss on all those other guys, look for him. Mankata, it's similar actually in a lot of ways. I think that last year was a really unfortunate year for him because he got COVID and he was one of these unfortunate guys who never seemed to recover properly, and which I think will help you now because I think a lot of people are taking that and going very negative with it. I think that he is going to bust into the top 8. He's the kind of guy that I will happily just not take third base and wait for at 100 ADP. Like, I'm just going to sit there and wait on third base and to get somebody like him in a Chicago White Sox lineup that is going to absolutely roll, and it is a hitter's park, and they're playing Detroit. Sorry, Detroit. And they're playing Kansas City a lot of times, and they do not have great teams. So I expect Mankata to have a big season, a big bounce back year. I don't think you'll ever get him at this spot again. So especially in Dynasty Leagues, if you're in a Dynasty League, Mankata this year, he's your guy. And right after that actually is Chapman. This is the point. This is the reason I am waiting so much on third base, because all 3 of these guys are all excellent baseball players. Now again, if you pick somebody early at third base, you could come back and target one of these guys again and still get value. Matt Chapman is a great baseball player, and he's coming in at 105 average draft pick. He could easily be a top 8 player, and at 105, he's not the 105th best player. There's no doubt about that. So third base runs super deep, so it's something to keep in mind when you're drafting here. Jumping right into the sleepers, I got 4 of them today, and I think this will probably you'll see why I don't really have them as breakouts, because I feel like they're both sleepers and breakouts at the same time. And we'll get into it here. Brian Hayes is a very interesting player. He initially was a defense first kind of guy, but all of a sudden he starts mashing. Last year he came up and actually it looked like he gave life to a Pittsburgh team that was terrible. Average draft pick up in 150. He could burst onto the scene again because last year he came out and was great. He really was. The problem with him, of course, is that he plays for Pittsburgh, so he won't get a lot of those counting stats. But if you're looking into deeper third base, or you really, really want to wait and take the risk, Brian Hayes could break out this year into that top 12. Next, Alec Bohm actually was a guy that I didn't believe in very much a few years ago. Thought he had some kind of quirky swing things going on. But if you really wait on third base and miss all of those guys that are undervalued somehow, come back and try to snag an Alec Bohm. He's going to be playing in Philly, a good hitter's park, a good lineup. He's going to get a lot of counting stats. He's going to be up to bat a lot, and he played well last year. And so I expect more of the same, and I expect him to continue to take those leaps. Not taking these old guys. I want these young guys who can continue to take leaps, especially if they're coming off of your bench. Take upside. Don't buy what they did. Buy what they're going to do. Next, Austin Riley. I actually have Austin Riley, so I'm biased, of course, but Austin Riley, I really feel that he is going to go off. He hits for such power. The big knock was that he strikes out a lot, but he did better last year with that. He does sometimes kind of fall into this oblivion of where he just doesn't seem to be hitting, but then he'll hit you this monster bomb, and then he'll go off for a week, and you're like, man, if he could just put some of this together, more consistency, he could really, really go off. And he's going to be starting in Atlanta, and I don't know why they would consider bringing in a third baseman, honestly. I know people talk about it, like, oh, Riley can't handle it. He can handle it, and he's going to do it. And at that ADP, if this is the last pick on your team, it's worth it, because he could really take off. Top 15 might not be high enough, honestly. I put top 15 as a conservative spot there, so it might be better than that at the end of the day. Last one is Kartika Boom. It's funny how late, look at that average draft pick. I mean, he came in last year and was, the hot prospect. He graduated now, so he's not on the prospect list. But he came in as a hot prospect that was going to kind of take Washington up a notch, and it didn't happen. He just didn't play well. And then this whole offseason, Washington talks about how they want to replace him. And it was kind of like, what? Why are you getting ready to replace your young prospect, your young kind of guy, your young core that is coming up? Give him a chance to actually spread his wings a little bit. And he did play bad. Let's not get that wrong. He did not play well, but he is still a highly regarded prospect. And to go at 412, especially when somebody like Alec Baum is going at 108, who is a very similarly ranked prospect at one time, I realize that pedigree isn't everything and you have to perform at some point. But Boom, they did not replace him. He is going to start at third base, and his upside is very high. So he's going to be somebody that nobody's taking. Obviously, at 412. Are you kidding me? So I see 412, and I'm kind of astonished, honestly, because he might be the best actual third baseman out of everybody on this list right here, out of these sleepers. So, all right, guys, these are guys to take a look at late in your draft for sleepers, undervalued. I would wait on third base because there's so many. Unless you get one early, come back and hit this well again. Third base runs deep, and you might as well get the points here. Anyway, that's it for me. See you on the next one.